Hello everybody, my name is Tracee Ford. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am the director and the producer of this channel, and I am presenting a new series called Things That Matter. And of course, the namesake is going to present various different topics. As you can see, I'm not dressed up. I'm dressed down, rather dressed down. But this is who I really am. And my thought was I didn't want to dress up in frills because we are going to talk about some things through this 10-part series that are not always pretty. They are not always frilly, and they are definitely things that may even make you feel uncomfortable. Because no matter what, there's still things that matter. If you're hearing stuff in the background, we're having some remodeling done. I truly apologize that this is the only day that I could film, but that's what we're up against. Again, not frilly. Today's first episode is about relationships. Some people are really, really good at relationships, and others aren't. For those that are, they've learned the value of healthy interaction through experience, typically. And you have to remember that we are not born with an understanding of how relationships are supposed to work. We learn that through modeling, through reinforcement, through observation. So if we are brought up around unhealthy relationships, we are going to think that is normal. And we are going to prescribe our life through that experience and through that reinforcement and that modeling. So how do we know what a good relationship is really supposed to look like? Well, I'm going to refer to the Bible, but I want you to understand that the relationships that we're going to talk about really briefly today aren't just limited to romantic relationships. They encompass friendships, family relationships, including parent-child, including sibling relationships. Relationships cover a wide range of people and interactions. But in every case, one thing remains true, and that is the reference given in the Bible regarding love through Corinthians. And I know you probably already know the scriptures, but basically the premise is, and I'm reading straight from the Bible, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in truth. Now that's something, that line right there, I want you to remember. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always preserves. Love never fails. So, with that being said, relationships, again, aren't just limited to love and romance. So what does an unhealthy relationship look like? Because the Bible tells us what a relationship, a positive relationship, is supposed to look like. So what does an unhealthy relationship look like? Well, typically, it is the exact opposite of everything that I just said. There's someone usually belittling another person. There's no give and take. There's no equal footing. It's all one-sided. There's a strong selfish component there, and love, according to the Bible, is selfless. And it's even worse when physical violence ensues, whether it's one person hitting another person or both people hitting each other. There's a difference, please understand, especially in a parent-child relationship, between spanking and abuse. And it's very evident which of the two means what. Spankings are a method of correction. abuse is similar to the belittling, the physical beating, and the emotional beating of someone. Emotional damage takes years to heal. Bruises and cuts, those heal over time. But it's what's underneath that that soaks into the soul and can steal that person's identity as well as their self-worth. So we need to be mindful of that too, especially for parents that are watching, or even children that are now adults that have lived in an environment where there has been abuse and they're wondering what's gone wrong in their life. It may not be your fault at all. It could have been imposed upon you by the environment that you grew up in. Another example of what a relationship is not supposed to be are the dirty looks that you get. For example, I know someone where we were all sitting at the table and the person that was with him shot this look, and it was a shut up, nobody cares what you think look. And it wasn't just one time that I saw this interaction, it was over a period of time, and it constantly happened. Eventually that person left the relationship, obviously for obvious reasons. And so I'm not just talking about situations where you've got verbal and physical components, but you also have perceived components that are messing up the situation. There's sadism involved sometimes, and I'm not talking about sexualized sadism. Sometimes, and remember that the love chapter, and this is why I said this, love does not delight in evil but rejoices in truth. It doesn't keep a record of wrongs. With someone that's a sadist, it's almost the idea of kicking a dog when it's down. That person will bring up painful memories or painful assumptions to dig or to find out information so that they can use it against that person. Now that sounds really sinister, but unfortunately there are people out there that thrive on those kind of interactions. So you need to be very careful about that when you're looking at relationships and evaluating your relationship with someone. I am definitely not the authority on relationships. This is simply a how-to type series, and my overall goal is to help people. That's never changed. So my hope is when you see this video that you'll realize that I'm here and presenting this information to help you. The other example that I want to bring up of what a healthy relationship is not is if a person is constantly being hushed. In other words, their opinion doesn't matter. If they are trying to speak their mind, they're immediately told to be quiet, either with a hand gesture or a mean look or an implied, you don't need to say that. Those type of things are terrible because they will break the person's spirit and they will break down that person's ability to think on their own, first of all, and that's brainwashing. So if you're in a relationship, you want to make sure that you advocate for someone to speak their mind. You don't want them to be quiet, even if it's something that may even hurt. You want them to be honest because love is truth. It embraces truth. It's okay to walk away from toxic relationships, no matter who it's with, whether it's a friend that you've known for years, whether it's a marriage that you've been in for decades, whether it's a parent-child relationship. Toxic relationships are just as bad as toxic fumes. They will kill you from the inside out. And I'm not talking like literally kill you. I'm talking about breaking your spirit, breaking your self-concept, breaking your self-esteem, changing who you fundamentally are. And within each one of us, and this is the psychologist coming through, within each one of us, there is an instinct to survive. And there is an instinct for self-preservation. And sometimes that instinct gets pushed down by all of the negatives that we experience in our lifetime and that we are exposed to through relationships or even through our jobs. And we need to recognize that sometimes the only and the best way to survive is to walk away. That's not always easy. That's where you get into complex issues. And sometimes you need a therapist or a really good friend to help you work through those issues. For those of you that are in good relationships that don't mirror the situations that I just spoke of, good for you. Because those relationships, those positive relationships, are typically built on love, understanding, trust, true love, selfless love, a giving and a take, and a level of intimacy. Even, and I'm not talking about physical affection. Intimacy is deeply connecting with someone else through either action or speech. Intimacy just isn't about sex. It's deeper than that. Holding hands, letting someone cry, revealing your innermost self with someone, that is intimacy. And it's when you do that and that is broken that it's hard to find yourself and recover from that. And that's hard. So to conclude this first episode of a 10-part series, remember that when you're evaluating whether or not your relationship is healthy, remember the biblical love chapter. Loving yourself is the most important relationship that you can have. That isn't always easy. And we're going to talk about this more in depth in episode 3 regarding anorexia, bulimia, and body dysmorphic disorder. Sometimes you have to cut off dead weight to get yourself, to free yourself, to find yourself, and to grow and to learn and to form new healthy relationships. If you can't check off patience and kindness, and if you find that you're trying to have a relationship where someone's jealous of you, where they're jealous of your accomplishments, where they're constantly throwing up your failures, where they're trying to absolve you for your sins, so to speak, if you are constantly being beat down, or if you're constantly being thrown under the bus, that's not a good relationship. And it's not healthy for your mind, your body, or your soul. So with that said, I wish you the best. Love and light to you. Live life to the fullest. Cut off the dead weight. If you have dead weight, cut it off. It's easier said than done. You're probably going to need a support system there. But all in all, love yourself, because it's you are the main person that you have to be at peace with. And if you aren't at peace with yourself, there's a reason why, and you need to dig deeper and find that reason. And if it happens to be a bad relationship, cut it off. With that said, have a great day. Happiness and light to you, and I will see you next time with episode 2, which is regarding judgment and how we need to reserve judgment and not be so judgmental of other people and their situations. Have a great day.